So at San Diego Comic-Con, we got one thing confirmed that no one else is really talking about. It's that Vision will return in some shape or form in the Disney Plus streaming show called WandaVision. That was confirmed at San Diego Comic-Con, and the actor who plays Vision was even there and said he had no idea how he's going to return. But what is interesting is we know it's set in the 50s, but even if it is set in the 50s, that doesn't mean that it isn't the same version that perished in Infinity War. So, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here, aka Stuart. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. So, no one seems to be talking about how is Vision going to be returning in WandaVision, because Vision is a big part of the title WandaVision. So it is confirmed 100% that Vision is going to be a pinnacle part of that Disney streaming show. So it is tied to Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. So we know that it's going to have something to do with what happens in Doctor Strange. Now, Marvel recently confirmed that Scarlet Witch could have taken out Thanos by herself if he didn't call in the army. We knew that already, but it is interesting that just before she appears in a big movie, Doctor Strange 2, and her own streaming show, that they just chuck it in there, that maybe Captain Marvel isn't the strongest Avenger, and maybe it's actually her. It's not Thor. All of a sudden, it's Scarlet Witch. But soon as she's got the mutant gene, and she's most likely going to be, well, she has been retconned technically to be a mutant, although they haven't officially said that. It is interesting. So the most obvious way that they could bring Vision back properly would have to do with the fact that Scarlet Witch could recreate Vision using her Mind Stone-like powers. Although she doesn't have the Mind Stone. If you remember in Avengers Infinity War, she held off Thanos whilst taking the Mind Stone out of Vision's mind, well, headstone, I guess you could say, whilst fencing off Thanos. And then essentially he reversed time and she's seen him die again. So essentially that would be the first possibility, that Scarlet Witch powers are pretty much unconfirmed to derive from an Infinity Stones. But Warstu, the Infinity Stones have been turned to atoms. Yes, they have. But she didn't lose her powers during Endgame. So I don't really think that has any kind of, I guess you could say, correlation. So we know that she has crazy telekinesis abilities that we've seen before in Age of Ultron. So it wouldn't be hard for her to kind of resurrect Vision somehow. Now, we know that Nightmare, in theory, is the villain for Doctor Strange. Now, what is interesting is the way it's set up is they could bring Vision back without really bringing Vision back. Vision, if she can't recreate him with her crazy-ass powers, she could just bring him back via Nightmare in a way, because she could have a nightmare of constantly seeing Vision, stick with me, when Vision's not actually there. It's just a ramification of what happens in Doctor Strange 2, if you get what I mean. It would be a pretty interesting story if Vision was literally a vision and he wasn't actually there. Now, as we know, Vision is essentially kind of close to Jarvis in a way. So a roundabout way, Vision could be some kind of Vision in the MCU Phase 4 with the WandaVision. But it is interesting how they said the movie will be set in the 50s. So without talking comic book, it could very well be possible. Now, we know that WandaVision comes out in spring 2021, and obviously Doctor Strange 2 comes out May 2021. And Kevin Feige did say during San Diego Comic-Con that there is a strong connection between the two movies. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this play. That's just my ideas of how he could potentially return. But what I want to know is, how do you think he's going to return? So back in April, just after Endgame came out, I believe it was during the press junket, Elizabeth Olsen teased that it was set in the 50s, which could mean that time travel could be involved, because if they're back in the 50s, the Infinity Stones would be real, the Time Stone would still be here, she could overpower anyone who had the stone. Obviously it would be the Ancient One, so that could be interesting. The way they could use time travel, which could be interesting. Obviously it won't be the same version of Scarlet Witch from the future, although they've not actually made this clear. I'm pretty sure it'll be a variation of Scarlet Witch from the 50s and not from the future that's gone back into the past. But it would be an interesting possible way that could happen. Obviously, the most obvious way, due to her being in Doctor Strange 2, is the Multiverse of Madness. So obviously the multiverse would be the simplest way to explain it. Despite obviously Mysterio saying in Spider-Man Far From Home the multiverse is a real thing, it was first introduced in Doctor Strange 1. In fact, I think it was referenced up to 3 times in that movie. So obviously the multiverse, she could get a vision from another multiverse in theory. We haven't really seen a multiverse version of anyone yet, so it's pretty weird of them introducing the multiverse, yet us not seeing a different variation of the same character from the multiverse. Although we kind of did, but what we've seen in Endgame, it was more kind of a different version in a different timeline. It wasn't really the multiverse. But either way, Vision is going to be returning during Marvel Phase 4, but we just don't know which variation of Vision will return to the MCU. But regardless to which way it is, I would love to know down below, guys, which version of Vision is going to return. Scarlet Witch will not let this happen. She will not go forever and ever. It was pretty much one of the saddest scenes in the whole Infinity Saga, was when Vision was killed. From Scarlet Witch's point of view, she is insanely strong. I'm surprised she didn't even go more mental than she actually did. But we are really looking forward to the WandaVision TV show. It's going to be very interesting to find out how Vision returns. I call it a TV show because it is a TV show. It's just on a streaming platform, which is a general medium in the 21st century. Netflix shows are essentially TV shows, but it's on a streaming platform. But obviously, they could do anything with these storylines. There's loads of storylines they could pull from in the comic books. But Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't really turn the comics into movies, because if that was the case, then Captain Marvel would be nowhere near as strong as she is in the MCU, and vice versa. Thor would be so much more powerful in the MCU than he is. So Elizabeth Olsen did say this: WandaVision is going to go weird, we're going to get deep, we're going to have a lot of surprises. One way for the series to be weird would be if Vision doesn't really come back to life, and instead it's all inside Wanda's mind. That's what I mean, like a Vision. There's so many parallels of what they could do, and obviously because it's going to be on a streaming service, they don't really have to stick to the advertiser's rules, because they are the advertiser. So he literally could be dead, but he's alive inside her mind, which would be a pretty damn awesome way. Would be to have Vision in the show, but he's not really there. She just looks like she's insane, talking to herself, when really she's actually talking to herself and there's no one else there. That would be a pretty cool thing that we've not really seen in the MCU before. It would be pretty cool, but I'd kind of like them to go down a storyline where Vision and Wanda get married and have the possibility of children. Yes, I know, which is weird because he's technically an android. But in the comics, there was a run when they had a family, kind of, in a weird way. And we kind of thought they were doing that for Endgame, because they put a casting notice out for 2 twin babies, which kind of corresponds to a comic book storyline. But for some reason, that never came off. So let me know, how is Vision going to return? Is he going to return at all? Is Warstu going to appear in this TV show? No, but I'd like to. So if you know anyone at the casting for Disney, just let them know that, yeah, I'm in. So anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.